The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business?
Everyone, this is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, Crystal, we're going to have an amazing show.
We are. Today, classes in session again. I think we should do once a month. We should do class in session where we're teaching, and then we'll have guests throughout the month. I think that's
what I'm talking about.
That's what we should do, because I think it's very important that we start helping our businesses increase their education, their knowledge, their information, and then they can go on and do their research and so forth and so on. So that's what I think. So anyway, so it worked out perfectly. So I don't really, sometimes I'm thinking, oh, should I rush to get, I'm just going to let it flow as it's going to flow. We have enough information that we can razzle and dazzle our audience.
Exactly.
So we don't always have to have a guest.
That's right.
So this week it's been an interesting week.
Oh my Lord!
The orange president is
on his way.
On his way. He's what do they say? Be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. You know, or better yet, here's one. You know, when you were a kid and your mom kept saying, "Keep acting up." Yeah. And you're gonna get a beat in your lifetime. Yeah. So that's what he did. He kept acting up.
Keep acting up anyway.
So.
Unbelievable.
So here he is. Now he has an impeachment inquiry.
Unbelievable.
So something must be real serious, because he changed his residence yesterday from New York to Florida. Although he thinks he can run away from them. The DA prosecuting him, that ain't going to happen. So, because he had already committed those crimes. That's the way it happens. He's just now gone to stick line. So that's kind of interesting. It felt like a little bit of a relief, though. It felt like, wow, finally. Yeah. I mean, of course, the next couple of weeks is just going to be intense, because he is going to go just ultra nutcase.
Go bananas.
Yeah, he's going to go cuckoo cocoa puffs. Cuckoo for cocoa puffs.
Oh my Lord.
So, which will be interesting all by itself. But yeah, it's been a wild week. We had Halloween, so that was kind of cool.
You performed yesterday, right, Crystal?
I performed yesterday. The Zumba crew. That's what we're called.
All right.
Zumba Ronnie's crew.
So how many people in the crew?
Well, we actually have, it's about 40 or 50 individuals that actually go do Zumba twice a week over at.
So you guys are all dressed up in your Halloween costumes?
Not all of them were out there. We had about 15 of us. So we were any kind of costume. So I had a skeleton. I had my skeleton gloves and my little skeleton, my hat, and my skeleton suspenders, and what else did I have? And then I had a mask, and then so some of us was in a black and white kind of theme, and then others had it was really cool.
That's cool.
So everybody, we performed for the kids that were waiting to get into the haunted house. So we did Thriller.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we did Thriller, and we did the Monster Mash. And so that was our performance last night, so good. Halloween. So that was kind of cool. Excellent. Wasn't my burlesque, but it was. I was still performing. I think in another life, I probably was a performer. I think if I had been, I should have probably looked at going into that direction when I was younger, because I really do enjoy being on the stage doing that kind of stuff. Yes. So that's a lot of fun. So that's
great. That's great.
So that was. And other than that, I've been working hard on.
You're working on your webinars, right?
I'm working on my webinars. I've got my op page done. Now I'm working on my sales page. Yes. And then I got to work on the stream of scripts and so forth, and do some video recording. Yes. I'm looking forward to it. Another friend of mine, Greg Winston.
Yes.
So Greg, it turned out, and this is hilarious, I had not told him I was doing this class, right? So, but he's been doing his book, and so I've been giving him information. So one day I was talking to him, and I don't know how we got on this conversation, and he says, hey, I'm doing this course. No, we were talking about business and how to scale up and multiple streams and so forth and so on. And he goes, yeah, I need to do something. No, he was asking me, he really thinks there's a place for me to speak through Vistage, which is the speaking bureau. I think you too, that he does. And they send him to companies and he travels and he gets to do that. So he was saying, and I said, yeah, I think I have something. I'm working on this course. And he goes, you are? Tell me about it. So I told him about it. And I said her name and he goes, say no more. I was like, why? What's the matter? He goes, I'm taking the same course.
Oh, really?
So he
Small world.
Small world. Now, this is online.
Small world.
So I said, were you on the call on Monday? He goes, no, I didn't get that. But he said, let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
So he had, hi, Ronnie. So he had, he was taking the course she had for how to sell to the luxury marketplace.
Right.
And so when he started it, he's written a book about that. And so he's like, oh, no, I already know this stuff. So he went back to them. He said, what I would like, though, is to create an e-course. And so, and he says and he's done this. He said, I can take any book and convert it into a course.
Wow. That's amazing.
So we're going to collaborate together.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so he said, he don't care what it is, rich man, poor man, cash flow, whatever it is. He said, if I read the book, I can convert the book to a course.
That is great.
And so I said, it's not the course piece.
Yeah.
That's the tough piece of the link, but it's fun. And so I'm excited about that because I think for us, there's a whole marketplace in Africa that we could really do some amazing stuff.
I've been thinking about that really, really hard lately.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
Because every week now, I haven't blasted in a while and boosted in a while, but every week on the Business Zone, you should see the response we get after the show.
Wow.
So they've all liked the show and they tune into it wherever they are, whatever internet cap, wherever they are, they're watching us.
All right. Well, if you guys are out there, if you're in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, South Africa, you name it, you tune into this Business Zone every Friday from 3 to 5 Pacific time. And you will get a great deal of nuggets that you can use to run your business from Crystal and I.
Yeah, they seem to be very excited about it. So after it comes on, sounds like that's a market we got to cultivate, and online would be no problem.
Yes.
And if it's online, if they miss the you kind of do it in the central part of the day, and then after that, they can catch it on the backside of it. Wow. So as long as you don't care when they watch it, as long as they're paying for it, that's all you care about. So that's kind of where we are. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
That sounds very good to me.
Because I'm making $100,000 off of a e-course
weekly.
Yeah. I think you can handle that, right?
I can handle that. I can handle that.
And all you have to do is create the thing. Once you create the thing, and then just change out the topics and the subject matter, the course that you got tons of courses. So you could just have 2 or 3 running simultaneously. And then the other side of it, and that's what we talked about last week, was then building up a international or global consulting business, because they're only going to Zoom or actually is either Zoom or GoToMeeting, and that's how you do your consulting. So you consult for an hour, they pay you whatever you're charging.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so got to work. You got to, what is it like?
Less work and make more money.
There you go, because it's just too much. Working too hard. I was up all night, late last night working on my clients, getting his books right so he can file his 990.
Yeah.
Got a deadline, and it's like, oh my Lord, this is a lot because it's just, I'm a troubleshooter, so when I come in, I'm cleaning up somebody else's blunders.
I hear you, man.
And it's interesting. So what you do?
Well, I think I did a workshop. Where was it? Oh, up in Tarzana.
Okay.
For Operation Hope.
Oh, did you get caught up in the fire?
No, luckily.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, the traffic going that way was okay.
Okay.
So that was good. So it's a workshop for women.
Okay.
Women entrepreneurs. So
Okay.
there's about 14 or 15 women in the class. So it was really, really great. And we went over Small Biz Pro.
Okay.
Teaching them how to set up their infrastructure, how to get their correct documents to run their business. And then we touched a little bit on business plan.
Oh,
Because
okay.
as you know, many startup businesses, they need to have a business plan, but they really don't know how to structure it. So I went over the 7 parts to the business plan with them and show them how to develop each area. So now some people think writing a business plan, will take you 6 months or more. So I was explaining to them that your business plan could take you anywhere from 10 days to 30 days. It doesn't have to take you that long.
What they know their stuff.
Yeah.
And they've done the research on their business, and it's just plugging and putting.
Oh yes, plug and play.
Plug
That's
and
really
play.
what it
I think
is.
the most strenuous part of it is crafting the 3 to 5 year financial.
Exactly.
Because a lot of them don't know how to do that.
They don't know how to do that.
Other than that, the narrative piece is a piece of cake.
And the thing is, what I did, I went over the different segments. We went over vision and mission, the difference between the two, and it was just amazing.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I got a class coming up next. I got a class where I'm actually going to talk on the business model canvas.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that's going to start on the
good.
18th of November.
That is
and
good.
then in January, I'm actually going to do a business plan class. So if there's anybody that wants to, they need the physical sit down and somebody to work with them every week.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 12-week course.
Right.
The other course I'm doing is 4 weeks. So each week is going to focus on the business plan and the covering, and then the marketing, and then the distribution and all that sort of stuff, and that kind of stuff that go along with that. So expanding. We cannot afford, we cannot afford to go into business not
having a plan.
Yeah.
And some businesses that are in operation for 7 years and beyond, they may not need a business plan, but they will need a growth plan.
Yes.
And there's a slight difference between the business plan and the growth plan. So those are things that we go over with them, show them the difference between the two, and how they can take a growth plan to grow their business to the next level.
Exactly. And the reason the whole business thing is important is because things change. And here's an example of things changing. So Uber and Lyft was a disruptor.
Yes.
Right? They disrupted.
Yes.
But look how quick last week when the Alawa created a policy that they can't come into the airport.
Yeah.
Well, even taxis make the bigger part of their income because, anywhere you go in the country and you take a cab from the airport, it's $50, $60 to $70 at least minimum, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, the same thing is happening with Uber and Lyft. They might be a little less, but I think when I've traveled last year, when I was traveling, I think I went to Kansas, and then I went to Baltimore, and then I went to Jack's Huntsville.
Yeah.
I caught an Uber.
Yeah.
Right? And it cost me about $45. That's pretty significant. If they do 3 or 4 trips, so 5 or 6 trips in an hour, they don't even have to do the local stuff.
Right.
And so last week when they made that law, they said it was a nightmare at the airport on Tuesday.
Imagine.
But now that's interrupted. That little policy,
little hiccup
has created. I mean, it could be a disruptor for $1 trillion business.
Yes. And those are things, if you have activities like those identified in your business or your growth plan, then you can, and that's probably why these guys were so quick to adjust themselves, because in their growth plan, they probably had, should some interruption occur, what do we do?
Right, exactly.
And that's probably why Uber and Lyft, they adjusted themselves.
Well, Uber was at the table, Lyft wasn't.
Okay.
But again, you're dealing with a municipality.
Yeah.
And so sometimes municipalities don't think of all of the circumstances that go along.
Yeah.
Governmental entities make big decisions
yeah.
that could have devastating consequences to it. It sounds good.
Yeah.
In fact, I was reading something recently. Hey, Patricia, you're absolutely right. It's all about making money.
Yeah.
That the Chinese, remember when the Chinese limited how many children that there could have? That was a law, right?
Yes.
Well, fast forward 20 years, they have more boys than they have girls.
See?
And so how do you populate a country with no women?
That's a very good question right there. It's a very good question. See, that was short-sightedness.
That was short-sightedness,
because they were thinking of leadership and thinking, okay, we need males to lead and all of that.
And overpopulation, and we can't feed whoever. Yeah. But the
they didn't
women,
think about the balance.
You got to have a balance, because 20 years from now, if you have 1 billion boys, but you only have 250,000 girls, there's a problem.
Yes, there will be a problem.
So the only ones that's going to be able to procreate are going to be the wealthy, because they would have taken their children somewhere else in order to they could travel around. But the poor, and then here's something that I was listening to. I'm listening to Cash Flow Quadrant with Robert Kiyosaki, and so he was saying his rich dad had told him, and this is an issue that the United States have right now. Yeah. Because you have your 1% of the population with all of the money. Yeah. Right?
They control everything.
And so he was saying his rich dad always said, currency is what? It's
power.
It's power, right? But it's movement of money.
Yeah.
Rich people don't move their money like that. Their money stays locked up in stocks and bonds and long-term investments. Yeah. The little people, the 99% are the ones that are going to the supermarket and they're doing this and the hiring and the traveling on public transportation. Yes. Not the rich.
No.
And the rich don't stay wherever their home base. They travel all over the world. They jump in their own planes and they go off into the wild, and so it doesn't circulate back into.
It doesn't impact them.
It doesn't impact the economy of the other people, and they don't pay taxes.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So it's
I'm still
those
trying to
things.
figure out how I can do that. And not having to pay as much. Well, I know I'm going to have to pay some taxes, but
they don't pay any taxes.
They don't pay anything.
In fact, I don't know if you have Netflix, but there's a movie I just watched, and this is for everybody. It's called Laundromat. It showed up. It was just recently added to Netflix. And it, who is playing it? There's a big time actress that's playing it. Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
And so in it, her husband was killed in it was an accident. And so the insurance company that was supposed to pay for this, because it was a faultiness of this particular cruise they were on, their money was all tied up in offshore whatevers, and it was being moved around and on bearer paper that had no value. It was valuable for the moment. Yeah. And whoever put some money behind it.
Right.
So watch it, and they talk about, it's a parody, but it's actually talking about how taxes are created and how the rich don't pay taxes and how they move their money offshore. That's why money doesn't flow in the countries.
And those guys, they sit down every day and they strategize how
they do.
To prevent themselves from paying.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do, is to sit down and come up with strategies as to how we can benefit from some of those strategies as well.
Right, but you got to have money. So it always comes back down. But if we really think about it, it's such a today's world with the hey Calvin, hey Ken, hey Zumba Ronnie and Leslie and Patricia and Amari. You now are not locked into doing business next door. You can do business outside of this country.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that for a while now.
Yeah, so you're not locked into to just do business with the people that you see every week.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. In fact, you want to do business outside, and you can do business across the country.
Right.
Yeah, right. I know there's an opportunity for you, because I had to this business. I had gone to this conference in Kansas, and I was talking to the people about being certified and the type of businesses that they have. And they were like, but I thought I could only get certified with one entity. They have no clue. And she goes, and I had asked a number of them, and they're not the affluent of workshops and classes like we have here, where you're focused in on that.
Right.
So that's why your e-course would be great, because you could do.
A lot of people have been requesting it. A lot of people. So I'm ready.
Because you have, what you do is time to take your act on the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've been structuring it because I already have the material. So I'm just structuring it right now, because your e-course is going to be somewhere maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes, no more than that.
Yeah, you have modulars.
Yes.
Just like you do now.
Yes.
So like what do you do? 6 week? You do a 8-week course,
Yeah,
right?
8-week course.
So every week is your modular.
Yes.
And then you do the same thing.
So that's exactly what it's going to be. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I think,
and that transition into our next point that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about personalities and behavioral styles in operating your business and interfacing with others, your clients, and also your associates within the business field. Yeah. So what I think Crystal and I, we're going to go over different personalities that small business owners or individuals may have that you may exhibit, and how to be cognizant of what works for you and what works for you and your client and your team.
Right.
So we're going to go over that. We're going to tease you a little bit, and we're going to tell you that there are 4 styles, 4 personalities and behavioral styles that we want to go over today. First, you've got the controller. You've got the stabilizer. It's on the last page, 11 to 12.
11 to 12. Okay.
You've got the analyzer, and the last one is a persuader.
Right.
So 4 of them: controller, analyzer, stabilizer, and persuader. Those are the 4 styles. So we're going to break this down for you when we come back from the break and show you the personality, the strengths and weaknesses of each one of those traits, and how you want to be careful about how you when you exhibit some of these, how you want to be careful that you don't lose customers in the interim.
So true.
Yeah.
Because you're right. And knowing how to identify who and what and how you interact with whomever you're dealing with at that time.
Exactly.
But I think out of all of it is, how do you get the best out of the person? One thing, and then the most important thing is how you seal the deal.
That's what I'm talking about. The key thing is sealing the deal. And sealing the deal is understanding what traits the person you're trying to close the deal with possesses.
Right.
And how to use your style and your strategy to mesh with those traits so you can get the best out of that negotiation process. So this is what we're going to cover today. Get your pencils out, get your paper, because class is in session and we're getting ready.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break right now. We're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. If you guys want to give us a call, our phone number here is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375.
All righty.
Take a break.
Be right back.
Subcontractors and small businesses are very good at performing their craft, but when it comes to managing their paperwork and efficiently running their business, not so much. That is why Buchanan and Associates, a multiple award-winning supplier diversity business management, technical support, coaching, and compliance firm is here to help you. Buchanan and Associates possesses core competencies in small business paperwork and government compliance, back office management and business support, business infrastructure and organizational development, light rail transportation program management, assisting small businesses in packaging and submitting their minority, woman-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprise certifications. We even match you up with contract opportunities. Buchanan and Associates has delivered more than 7,500 hours of training to subcontractors by preparing them to become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready with the ability to quickly access key documents in seconds. Buchanan and Associates help subcontractors accurately prepare, manage, and submit certified payroll, contract compliance, and labor compliance reports to primes so that they can get paid on time without delays. If you need to meet your disadvantaged business or small business enterprise participation goals, Buchanan and Associates can help you. If you need a qualified and experienced firm to oversee your subcontractors so that you can successfully complete your projects, Buchanan and Associates can help you. We help all businesses organize and set up their company the right way so that they can formally pursue contracts. Buchanan and Associates has assisted subcontractors and primes secure more than $90 million in contract awards. What are you waiting for? Contact Buchanan and Associates today, the small business paramedic. Go to www.thebuchanangroup.net and begin saving now.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, Small Biz Bros, we're going to talk about the 4 behavioral and styles, personality styles that you might want to think about. All of us exhibit 1 or 2 of those styles. So let's take a look at your styles and see how well you utilize this in a positive way to help your businesses, your clients, and how to close a deal.
Now, let me ask you this before we get started. So
Yes.
you've actually, I know this is one of your courses that you teach.
Yes.
Are people aware that there is even a style? Are they surprised?
A lot of them don't even know.
Right.
And then when you present it, they go, "Oh my God, that's me."
Really?
That's me.
And so they just been out there willy-nilly doing
all
business,
willy-nilly,
right?
just doing stuff, and have no clue that, there are styles that are germane to them, their behavior,
right,
their operation, their personality. It's
wow.
unbelievable.
I just wondered because, some people, want to blame everything else on everybody
Oh,
else.
yeah. And see, that's the thing with many entrepreneurs, many small businesses, they have a tendency to blame other people, right, instead of themselves.
Right, exactly. So, and not knowing that, hey, this is actually on you.
Yes, it's on you. Yeah.
And this is one of the things I've always been told, that if you're trying to educate or sell me something, it is on me to make sure I'm communicating in a style that the people can receive the information. Right?
Exactly.
Right. So this is where we're heading, guys. So you can learn how to utilize the skills that you have in order to be able to help. Okay, so take it away.
That's pretty much what it is. So we're going to give you a quick overview of the controller. We'll start out with a controller style. So with a controller style, this is a major focus for the controller. The controller is all about results. They want results by any means necessary. Controllers are not about small talks. They don't have time to chit-chat with you. They just want results. So if you meet with a controller, if someone who exhibits the personality trait of a controller, then you want to have facts when you deal with them. Yes. You don't want to go talk, how should I say? I don't want to say the words on the air, but just going to them with stuff that's fluff and it's not real legitimate. You're a storyteller. They don't have patience for storytellers.
Yeah.
And the next one is, one of their greatest strengths is to use conflict. They use conflict to get results.
Yeah. So do you know anyone that's a controller?
Like who uses conflict to get results? That's primarily what the controller is all about. Now, with the controller, you want to take time to be efficient with them. You want to make sure that being efficient is a big part of your contribution to this individual. This person could be you're a leader in your group. They could be your boss. They could be a contract provider. It could be a prime contractor that you have a contract with. So these are things that you really want to know.
Right.
You want to know whether or not when you're dealing with this person, are you providing them efficient data or verifiable data? Mm-hmm. They want verifiable data, so don't give them fluff. If you like to talk a lot, back it up with some facts.
Right.
And that's how it works with a controller. The controller also wants you to be action-oriented. So you want to be able to provide them with action plans to state, if there's an issue, don't go apologizing to the controller, because that's not what the controller is all about. Controller is, okay, something bad happened, how are you going to fix it?
All right.
Come back to me with results, an action plan as to how this is going to be taken care of. So that's how it is. So with a controller, there are certain strengths that this controller has. And Crystal, I'm going to ask you to go over some of those strengths. Just list the bullet items on the strengths.
So they use conflict, as you mentioned. They like making fast decisions.
On the spot.
Right? They accept challenges, generating ideas.
Right.
Adapt. They're good at adapting to change.
And when we talk about generating ideas for the controller, the controller is a type of individual who will give you a task to do. But if you don't do it fast enough,
then they're going to take it over.
They'll take it over. They'll do it themselves. You see what I mean?
Right.
So when it comes to generating ideas, yes, they don't mind you generating ideas too, but you got to run it by them. And if you're not implementing fast enough, they're going to go ahead and do it.
Override wherever you do it. So they're really very micromanagers. For a word that people will understand, they micromanage everything.
They can be micromanagers. Now, a controller will give you autonomy to operate on your own if he sees that or she sees that you're competent.
Okay.
If she sees where you're competent and you can get the job done, she will or he will definitely let you do your thing on your own, but you got to run it by them as well.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yes.
All right. They are taking action.
Yes.
And they're good at overcoming obstacles.
Exactly. So controllers tend to be, they say no man is an island. The controller tend to operate in an island environment sometimes. They will want to do things by themselves. Okay, you're not going to help me? Okay, bye. I'll do it myself. And many of you out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because some of you are just like that. And you know. So those are some of the common traits of the controller. Now, we can go over all of these things, but, it might occupy a lot of our time on the show today. But we're going to quickly run through some of these. So, blind spots. There are certain blind spots that the controller has. Crystal, you want to go over some of those?
So, I would imagine blind spots, meaning that they're not very good listeners.
Right.
There is no patience. They don't do well working in teams.
No.
And they don't do well communicating their expectations.
That's correct.
Or expressing feelings or emotions, or paying attention to detail.
A controller is one of the last person to apologize to you. If they do something wrong, you're not going to hear "I'm sorry," but they'll work with you and say, "Oh, okay, so that's what happened. Okay. We'll see. Let's go. Let's move."
Right, exactly.
That's
now,
the controller.
But I assume in their controller type environment, if they could just override you and step right on in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The controller will give you authority to do certain things. And again, like we say, if you don't do it fast enough or if you don't do it efficient enough to the controller's expectation, they'll just override you and just move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
So those are some of the things. So here are some flag words that you might want to look out for when you deal with a controller. So when you present a project, a report, or some type of information to the controller, and you hear words like, what? Then you know they don't agree with anything you're saying, and you want to step up your game.
Okay, all right.
Because that means that they're questioning everything you do. And the controller, if once they lose confidence in you in one instance, it's going to be forever. It's going to be a long time before they gain any kind of confidence in you again.
Right. Now that could actually, so now let's look at it from a productivity standpoint.
Right.
That can limit anybody's productivity.
Oh, yeah.
And no fresh and new ideas, right? Because they're not welcoming in anybody to work with them to give them a bigger picture. They're just very focused in on them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. It's all about them. And that's how it works, Just think of some of the controllers out there. We know a lot of leaders who are controllers,
Yeah.
Our president is one of them.
Oh, my God. He's an over-controller.
And there are a few others out there who we know are controllers. Now, sometimes controllers are good because they force you to step up your game and be better about what you do. Like a coach. There's certain coaches, like a basketball coach, some of those guys tend to be controllers as well. Now, let's look at needs. What are some of the needs that this controller has?
He needs to be in control.
They want to be in control.
Yeah.
They have to be in control at all times.
Yeah. They need to be the one making all the decisions.
Yeah.
They want action and results. They have an abnormal desire to win. And now when it means options, what do they think? What?
Well, if you come to them and you tell the controller, hey, this idea is not working out, and especially if the idea was created by the controller, this idea is not working out. You got to be willing to give them options. Say, okay, so what are the options? What are the options that we have?
Okay, so you have to be prepared.
Yes. How can we solve this? What else do we do? Because we got to get results. Got to get results on this.
So Commander-in-Chief, who is a major controller, feels he wants to just throw out the Constitution.
Yes.
It's in his way.
So he's looking at that as an option. If I throw out the Constitution, I don't have to be held accountable to that.
Right, exactly. So that would be an option, guys.
That's
just throw out the Constitution. Okay, I've worked with some guys. I've worked with some people like this.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And here's some do's and don'ts. Do's, you want to ask direct and clear questions. You don't want to think about wasting the controller's time because they're just going to not want to deal with you again. So keep that in mind. When you deal with them, you present facts. You want to plan your presentation efficiently. So if the controller said, hey, I only have 2 minutes to go over this, make sure everything you present is well prepared and presented and it satisfies that 2-minute time frame.
Right.
Don't want to ever go beyond that.
Right, exactly.
You want to present specific data on the outcome of an option. If you're going to say, well, here's an option, well, give them specific data. Those are things that works for the controller. You want to refer to objectives and results to get them to buy into your idea. So if I'm saying, well, we want to put together a procurement program, and here's how this procurement program is going to work, then you got to show this controller some numbers, some outcomes, and how you connect those numbers to results. That's usually how you present to a controller.
Yeah, I could see though. This would not be a long time relationship with anybody.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a get in, get out. Because
get in, get out.
Yeah, this would be very stressful to work under this type of environment.
Yes. Now there are controllers who exhibit a lot of these qualities, but if they are willing to what we call improve, they call it improving dimensions. If they're willing to improve, then they'll spend some time assessing and analyzing themselves. They look at how they come across to others, and they'll spend time, apologizing sometimes. They'll say, you know what, I'm sorry about my approach to that. Maybe I was a little harsh. Maybe I could have handled it differently. But when you're apologizing, you don't want to apologize and say, I'm sorry that you feel that way, or I'm sorry that you did that.
Right.
You see what I mean? Because that's not a true apology.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So when you apologize, you want to apologize for the part you played.
Right.
And how it could have been done differently.
Yeah. I think I worked with an actual controller when I was first got into accounting.
Yeah.
And which is, I will say this, I was only a short period of time though, but I will say this, during the time that I worked for them, that was where I developed my skills to troubleshoot and spot things that could be potentially a problem. So it helped me to sharpen those skills of being detailed. So, but it wasn't a long time because I don't work well in that environment. That's why I'm an entrepreneur.
And I'm going to tell you why that worked for you. I'm going to explain that to you and the audience why. If you're listening to what Crystal just said, she said she was able to work with a controller and she was able to provide them data, specific reports, specific information. She was clear, she was concise, and I'm going to explain to you why that worked for Crystal. Okay, so I'm gonna touch on this later on, and some of you guys are gonna go, "Oh, I didn't know that." So let's. Oh wow, we're running out of time here.
Yeah, so we gotta do the next one, stabilizers.
Okay, so let's do. You know what? Instead of doing stabilizer, let's skip stabilizer and go to analyzer.
Okay,
because this one ties right into Crystal.
Okay.
Okay, so. Do you want to do an overview of?
Yeah, I can do an overview. Yes. So an analyzer is basically someone whose main focus is quality, accuracy, and perfection. Their driving need is to get it right. Their greatest strength is to use facts, data, and history. They do have blind spots declaring a position. Support their support is their standards and principles, and take time to be accurate. And they provide facts and data.
Okay. So now that you've heard what the overview of the analyzer is, now you understand why Crystal get along with the controller so well. Because Crystal is
an analyzer.
She's an analyzer.
Right. I'll give you some facts in a minute, boy.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And an analyzer is usually people who they like to work by themselves. They like to work with numbers. They like to work with facts. And people, for example, like that are CPAs, bookkeepers, accountants, engineers, those types of folks. Yeah. They are usually analyzers.
We're logical people.
They're very logical. Things have to make sense. Yeah. And that's why she was able to work very well with a controller. And that's why I kind of skipped the stabilizer to come to this one, because this is a great mesh right there.
Right, and it was so funny because after that time we spent together, I moved on.
Yes.
But years later, he took another position, and I was the one he reached out to because he needed a backup.
Yes.
And so I was that person that he called and he said, "Can you help me out here?
Yes.
I just got this job, and you're the only one I know that can work well with me."
And a controller can work very well, and they tend to team up better with analyzers because analyzers are good at data. They're good at being specific.
Right.
And analyzers work the numbers before they present it to you.
Yes. I never let anything. I think I did that one time when as the underling.
Yes.
After that, no.
Yes. Yeah.
But when I'm teaching QuickBooks or accounting, I am paying attention to the details.
Yes.
And so the students always say, "How did you know that's what I did wrong?"
Yes.
Because I already know.
Exactly.
Because I can pick out a mistake. They'll go, "I don't know why it's working." I'll come in, "It's because of this."
Yes.
How do you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was trained.
Right.
I was trained by the best. So sometimes I think it's good to have worked with a controller, especially if you're working in a working relationship, right? A boss and an employee. You can learn a lot in those environments. It's not a long term, though.
That's true. That's true. So you guys understand how this works. Now, in the interest of time, we're going to keep flipping back and forth just so you guys can get a gist of all four categories. So the next one we're going to skip to Crystal. We're going to go back up to stabilizer.
Okay.
We're going to go to that one. Now, I'll read the overview of a stabilizer. A stabilizer is usually, their main focus is relationships. So these are people who like to have relationships with others. They're big on relationships. And in organizational development, we call this people who are low on task, high on relationships.
Okay.
And some stabilizers, they can be high on task if they really understand their role. They can be high on task and high on relationship. But most of the times, a stabilizer is low on task, high on relationship. So what I mean by that is, these are the types of people who come into work on a Monday morning and, hey, hi, how are you doing? How was your weekend? This is what I did. What did you do? They started talking. So they start talking about, relationship stuff, social stuff, instead of getting to work. Start working. Now, when the controller sees that, controller is not happy because the controller is going, you're wasting valuable time. Go get me my reports. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah. They would not do well with a stabilizer.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So, and the stabilizer is the one in the company who tries to get along with everybody. So if one person is talking bad about somebody else, that stabilizer is one. Yeah, no, it's not that bad. He or she is not that way with me. So that's usually how the stabilizer works. So they're big on relationships. The driving need is security. A stabilizer like to have security. That means things are always safe for them. They always want that safe environment.
Okay.
And a stabilizer is the type of person, they like to maintain harmony among everything. Now, the blind spot that a stabilizer has is the ability to initiate quickly. It takes them a while to get things done, so they're very slow to react to things. So if the controller gives them a task, it may take them a little while to get that task going. And that's why the controller gets upset and say, give it back to me. I'll do it myself.
Right.
So that's usually how that works. So again, the stabilizer, they take time to understand their goals. It takes them a while because they're always looking at it like, okay, I see how this is going to work for me, but how is it going to work for Jane? How is it going to work for Tom? So this person wants to make sure everybody's okay before they buy into a directive.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Now, I can see a stabilizer being a great husband or wife for a controller.
Yes.
Because that would be the one place that they could actually relax. Hopefully, they would feel secure enough to let them to be able to harmonize them or to pull them down off of their controller ledge.
Yes.
So that would be a good relationship and love match.
Exactly. And also, a stabilizer is good to have in toxic environments.
Yes.
Because that stabilizer try to bring everybody together and try to say, hey, that one is not that bad.
Yeah, I think a stabilizer is excellent on any team.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to have a stabilizer. One that doesn't things roll off of their back, right? So that they just have that sunny book, that everything is rosy.
Yes.
And they can bring the other groups together to destabilize the nonsense.
And that stabilizer, sometimes what happened with that stabilizer, people say hurtful things to them that really hurt them, and they just take it. They don't say anything because they don't want to stir up the pot. So sometimes they've got bruises and their egos or emotions are damaged, and you may not know because they try to put a smile on at all times to make it seem like everything is okay. But then when they come home from work, girl, I can't believe what she did at work, or I can't believe what he did at work. So that's the kind of thing you get from a stabilizer.
That also could be your shooter.
Yeah, yes.
In your workplace violent shooter. They just all of a sudden
they
get
keep
just
it all
too
in
much.
and store it up and store
Right,
it up.
and then one day it just erupts into a volcano
They
and
just
then
explode.
Yeah, so be careful, guys. If you have a stabilizer at work or in your world, you can push them to the limit.
Got to be cognizant of people's feelings.
You don't back them up into a corner.
Yes.
They might lose it.
And the last one is a persuader. So, Crystal, I'll have you do the overview on that one.
Okay, so a persuader is someone's driving, major focus is people. Their driving need is to be liked. Their greatest strength is using verbal skills. Their blind spots are following systems. Support their ability to take risks and take time to get acquainted and have fun and provide approval and praise.
Right. So the persuader love praises. They love praises. And the persuader is also a storyteller. So that person will tell you stuff that's not true, and they'll make stuff up just to win your approval.
Okay.
Or to be on your side, or to get you to sign in on a deal with them. An example of a persuader would be a car salesman, a used car saleswoman.
Well,
or
you may
man.
not necessarily. Mari says a yin and a yang.
Yeah.
So they may not necessarily be telling you the truth, though.
No. Just like when you buy a car and they don't tell you everything about the car.
Right.
Until you drive off and they say, well, I didn't tell you that.
Right.
They did what they need to do to get the sale.
To convert the sale and get you off the lot. Get the check in, get the check, get the signatures, and then you're gone. And know that you got a limit when you drive off the lot.
Those are usually persuaders. And those people who sell timeshares, those are usually persuaders.
Yeah.
They convince you to do stuff you don't want to do. They tell you the sky's blue when it's not.
Yeah. And convince you.
They convince you.
Trump, I'm not lying.
Yeah.
So we know he's a controller and a persuader.
Oh, yes. Now, persuaders can be good sometimes because in a group, you also need a persuader to convince team members that, things are good. It's not as bad as they think, and things can be done. So you get people motivated by using, you can use a persuader as a coach also.
Yeah.
So those are some of the types of things that.
A psychologist is probably a persuader.
Psychologist.
Because they can help move you past
an
your
attorney.
Those
are persuaders.
Yeah, there's some major persuaders right there. Good and bad.
Yes.
They can have you going to jail because you didn't believe that you killed somebody that you didn't.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So those are things that you want to look at when you deal with persuaders. A persuader is very optimistic. Those are some of their strengths. They'll see the glass full, not half full, but full.
Right?
Even if it's not.
Exactly, and convince you of it.
And they convince you of it too.
Yeah.
It's like those little kitties that look in the mirror and see themselves as a lion. That's a persuader right there. That's a persuader.
Okay.
So these four personality traits and profiles are really ones that resonate with all of us, and all of us can see ourselves in that. Now, like I said before, you don't necessarily will be categorized in just one of these four. It could be two, or it could be three. So you could be a controller analyzer. You could be a controller persuader. Those are things that happen. Or you could be a stabilizer persuader. Those things happen.
I think I am. I think I probably, and I imagine you can also cross over.
Yeah, you
to
can
three.
cross over. You can.
So the good sides of each one, right? So definitely a stabilizer and analyzer.
Yes.
And there's probably a bit of persuaders in me.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm a controller.
Right.
I don't think that's part of my personality.
I think your stronger suit is the analyzer, the analytical
Yeah, that's
part,
I would say my
data and and specificness, being precise. Those things are important to you.
Yeah, that's very, very important to me.
Yes. And, as a bookkeeper, an accountant, a CPA, those things are very important qualities.
Yeah.
For those folks.
Yeah.
So these are things that we teach in our workshops, and the workshop is called KYP, Knowing Your Personnel. So we teach this, and we break it down even more. We do the exercises. We do the analytics.
Yeah, I think we're going to do some of this. We're going to have a workshop with RBD so that we can do this, because I think this is important. Yes. I use something like this, well, not this one, but a very short version of this with the kids when I do the summer biz camp, so that when they're building their teams, so that they'll listen and be able to pick the individuals that can really help their teammates and be able to help them achieve the goal that I've set. Yes. So it's really a good thing. So it's good, people, for you to know exactly the kind of people, the kind of business person you are.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're going after a contract and you got to meet with a contract provider, you want to know which one of these 4 personality traits that person exhibits. So then you can strategize when you go meet with that person. Because if the contract provider is a controller, you know you're not going to go in there and do small talks. Hey, how you doing? How's your dog? How's your... They don't care about that.
Right, exactly.
They don't care about that. Just tell me, why are you here? How can you help me? And why should we team up?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So if you're dealing with a contract provider that's a controller, that's what you want to do. You're dealing with a contract provider who is an analyzer, then you know you got to bring data to the table.
Right.
Bring some facts, some data, something specific, something that's proven.
Right,
to them.
Exactly. And so that's why we want to do this workshop, so you'll learn how to formulate the questions and that. And I think in every aspect, Gilbert, so when you're hiring an employee, if you're looking for creating a successful team, you want to make sure you probably want someone that's controlling your money to be that type of personality. Right. So even those of you that are hiring bookkeepers, you want someone that pays close attention to detail. Right. Your assistant, close attention to detail. Right. So you better attach the personality to the individual based upon how you want to work with them.
That's a great point. I'm going to throw a quick story in here. So I was working with an employer one time as a consultant, and they were trying to hire someone to do bookkeeping. So they went ahead and hired the person without me doing the analysis, me doing this for them. So they hired the person, and when I conducted this analysis, only to find out that person who they brought in to do bookkeeping did not care about numbers, did not care about data
or detail, right?
Or detail. They didn't care about that. That person was more, to persuade and talk about a lot of things and just go around telling stories. So I'm saying, do you think you did a good thing here by hiring this person without analyzing them first through this process? They're saying, yes, we did good. So when I spoke to the person said, no, I don't care about I don't like accounting and bookkeeping. I'd rather do marketing. And that's exactly what I thought, because that person was more of a persuader. That person would talk, and they'll convince you about stuff. That's what marketing people usually do.
And I think it's very important when you're creating your team, making sure that these people augment your skills. Yes. If you're the controller, you already know what your shortfalls are, right? So now you want to augment that with other people so that you can get some stuff done.
Exactly.
And not ruffle all the feathers.
Yes. And if you have a team of employees or consultants, you want to make sure you have one of each on the team.
I would say so.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Yes.
So that you would really be a successful company.
That would be a successful organization. It will have a balance of everything, and then people will come together and provide the project the way they ought to.
I think
amazing we run out of time.
I know already. So wow, guys. So we're going to have a class on this in January.
Yes.
And actually, I got a space. Yeah, I got a 3-week time span that Bonnie asked me, did I want to do a class? So maybe you and I can do this in that 3-week period. It's not long enough for me to do any of the other courses I do, but then we could do this in 3 weeks, right?
We can do that. Oh, sure. We can do that.
Okay. So I'm going to talk to her about us doing that, and then we'll get the flyers together. And I think that would be amazing. So you guys can come on out and find out what type of business persona that you have.
And we can break it down right there in the class. We'll do a live, hands-on analysis.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to tell her. Yes. So we're out of time, but I just want to quickly tell you guys, it's November 1st. Know that the third week of November is Global Entrepreneur Week. Actually, that could be let me see. I got a class starting. Maybe we can do something in that time frame to really to highlight and uplift entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I have a QuickBooks class. It's an advanced training class that is starting on November 7th, which is next week, and it's going to go on to the 19th, and it's $149. You want to come out, you'll learn advanced QuickBooks skills, budgeting, all the things that it takes to run a successful business, especially if you've been in business for 2 to 5 years. You really should be amping up your skill sets and your knowledge and your information so you can then take your business to the next level.
Sounds good to me.
So reach out to me and I'll get you the information. Email me at cmitchell544@gmail.com or give me a call at 323-906-7004. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, however, LinkedIn. Just send me a message and I will send you the information.
And you can reach me at 888-882-1168. That's 888-882-1168.
All righty. We have come to the close of the show for the day. So thank you all for tuning in. Check in with us next week. I think we have a guest next week. So we'll talk about some more wonderful stuff, though, to close out the year. We want to make sure everybody's equipped with all the skills that you need to become successful, profitable business owners.
And thank you for tuning into the Business Zone. This is
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. We're out.
See you later.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.